And what it reminds me of is the early 80s, the very early 80s, when the neo-progressive rock movement started. They did support each other because it wasn't it was a dirty word, let's face it, prog in the early 80s, right through up until the late 90s, really. But they did support each other. And I see this happening again.
Hey there, kids. We are in Halo, and you're watching LiveProg.
So I want to welcome you, Chris and Charlie. Oh, wait a second. You're not Charlie.
I've been called a Charlie, but
I've been called a Charlie.
Here we go again.
It seems to be something going on, right? You and Charlie.
Yeah. So he's a lovely chap, as I said a moment ago to you, Marcel. He's an absolute star. But there's been a lot of fun on Facebook, particularly amongst certain prog members of the community who shan't remain unknown, like Bella Alabastrom, Sue Smith, Jane Lee, etc. Just giving a shout out to those guys, putting all sorts of comparisons up, saying which one is this? Is this Jonathan or is this Charlie? Or putting AI pictures of us up together. Are we really one person or is it two? Because you never see us in the same place at the same time, and all that type of thing. So but no, he's Charlie and I have got to know each other, even though we haven't met. Physically met. We've got to know each other, talking a lot on Facebook Messenger and things, and he's an absolute star. Fair play to him. And just to give a shout out to him, because he did the same for us on his podcast with you. Their new album is fantastic, and yes, I do own it, but it's upstairs, so I can't go like that with it. So apologies. Oh, there it is.
Good one, Chris. I have my copy downstairs, so I don't have it with me. And I don't
Yours
have
is down and mine's up.
I don't have a copy of your album either, but that will come. And again, Charlie will be involved in me getting that. So.
Oh, right, okay. You have got it though, haven't you?
I had a digital version, so I've been listening to that quite a bit.
You haven't had the physical.
Something a little bit recent. You recently had a gig that you played. We had some sad news about the venue.
Today.
That
was unexpected.
Unexpected that it's there won't be any prog gigs in the future anymore. So it's a sad thing. But you guys did have a gig there, and I also understood that people could buy a stream from that gig.
Yes, they could. We won't profess to being part of that whole setup. That was Steve Gould and his colleagues who set all that up. We do have a copy of it for us to peruse and look at our performance and go like this. Which is usually what we do. But yes, it was live streamed to the world. I don't know. I have no idea how many people were watching. But we were unlucky, really. It's not the first time in our gig life that we've been unlucky, where we've been playing the same day as other venues are putting on events. So Jadis were playing just up the road in Bilston, in the Robin 2, and then Charlie and Ghost of the Machine, Hayes. I think I'm going to be shot down for forgetting who else was on the bill, but there was a charity event in Leicester. Chris, is that right?
Yeah, there were 5.
Or Stuckfish and Pete Jones's band.
Red
Bazaar.
Red Bazaar, who were playing with in the Bilston in a week on Sunday, and this Winter Machine.
Yeah, indeed. So ours wasn't very well attended because I think prog fans preferred those other bands who went to see them instead.
But
too much to choose from in a relatively small space.
It was recorded, so maybe in the future this will be the first Tribe3 live DVD. Something like that.
Unfortunately, no. Although we are working on, as of today, funny enough, taking one of the tracks and releasing it. No, just on YouTube or Facebook, and I've got to do a little bit of work to it or try to release it. But that's what we want to do, is at least put one of them out there, because to be fair, it is good quality. The pictures are great quality. You had a young man at the front following you around, which is quite funny, because I was doing some of my amateur dramatics, which I do on stage, particularly with lights, and I couldn't resist, Marcel. The old days of Top of the Pops, there would be the singer who couldn't resist looking into the camera like this. And I did, with a torch under my face like this, lit up, going, ah. Yeah, okay. It was to look back at it, yeah.
I should have started with this, of course, but maybe it's good that you introduce yourselves for the viewers who are not familiar with you.
It's fair enough. Go on, Chris, you go first. I'm the gobshite today. Our third gobshite the main gobshite isn't with us. That's Steve Hughes. Yeah.
Go on, Chris. Your turn. Yeah. Chris Jones, guitar. Short and sweet.
Short and sweet. That's very short and sweet.
Next.
I'll introduce Steve. I'm not Steve Hughes, but Steve Hughes is the loudest member of the band, and I could take the mickey out of him all I like, because he's not here. Mind you, I would if he was here as well. He is our bass player, bass pedal player, and keyboard player. And there's me. So I'm the demoted singer, because I started off as the drummer, and I still am on the recordings.
Okay.
But I also play keyboards as well. So I'm drummer, keyboard player, and singer, I guess.
And singer, wow. So that's well, 3 different jobs, especially in a live setting. That I can imagine that's going to be a little bit of a challenge.
Yeah, that's why we have a live drummer. We did start off with having all my drums on back-in tracks, but we eventually agreed with Chris, because Chris was like, "No, we need a drummer," and he was right. We eventually got Greg Paulette to be our live drummer, so that it feels a bit more real to have a real drummer behind you. And I wish it was me. I really do. But so I could just sing and play the keyboards to fill in the gaps that are needed live. So that's my kind of role on the stage, is to be the flouncy head one wiggling his bum at the audience and playing the odd keyboards.
Yeah. But so a live drummer is gives you more flexibility on stage, or how? What is the benefit for a live drummer compared to a backing track? I mean,
go on, Chris. I'll let you do this one.
Oh, that's very kind of you, John. Very kind. You just get more oomph into the sound. The visual aspect of it, I was always very not convinced about just using the backing tracks, but it got us where we needed to be to start with. But several people commented that it was lacking, I guess, in a sense. But from a sound and a visual aspect, it makes a big difference.
Okay,
gives us a kick up the backside when we're playing.
Not just the flexibility, but also the whole thing you see on stage. Was it difficult to find a live drummer?
Yes. There's a story behind this. This is a bit of an embarrassing story, but I'll tell it anyway.
Oh, we like those.
Yeah. Oh, it is embarrassing as well. Steve put an advert out, band looking for a live drummer. Yeah, Chris, should I be telling this story, Chris? I'm not sure. Anyway, he puts this advert out, which is a UK wide advert, and we had one person interested. So this person contacted me, or we arranged to have a chat, and we were actually chatted initially. Well, I never actually spoke to him over the phone, but he sent me a text, so I give a bit of detail about the band, about what we were doing. It turned out he was 13 years old. I was like, oh no. He'd never been in a band. He just wanted to know how to set up his own band, because nobody nearby wanted to, played music or played instruments. So I felt suddenly, I was like, oh no, 13 years old, I better end this conversation pretty quickly. It was really, he was lovely. He thanked me because I gave him some advice, about, finding people, of like mind to play with musically. And, but yeah, it was a bit, ringing up Steve, this advert, where did you advertise it? So I felt very, very, kind of like, oh, this feels weird. But then I'd met Greg once at a gig I was playing at where I was the drummer. And we just got talking, and we sort of like became Facebook friends, usual sort of thing. But I saw a clip of him playing, and I noticed he was also in the army. And usually, army drummers have certain skills, shall we say, and other than anything to do with guns, and I saw this clip of him playing, and I knew what he was doing. It was all sort of rudimentary stuff. I could see him doing 6-stroke rolls and stuff. And I was like, oh, I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing. So I got in touch with him, and that was it. And he actually wrote out all the songs in notation form. So when he's not sure of a song on stage, he actually reads it. It's like, wow.
It looks like somebody's taken a machine gun to a piece.
Your sound is...
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was me or him then.
Crazy. How he can follow that
your
when you play
sound
live,
didn't
I have no
get through
idea.
quite well, Chris.
The
Sorry?
night nurse was kicking in there, Chris. We couldn't hear you. Are you back now?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Testing. Yeah, it's his drum charts look like somebody's taken a machine gun to a large piece of paper. It's just bizarre how you can follow that when you play live. I have
especially under lights,
none whatsoever.
Okay,
but he's a great drummer. He is a great drummer.
Yeah. Okay, so that's definitely gonna do a lot of good for the live shows, which is quite nice. Well, you just released your second album, Life Among Strangers.
We have.
But Tribe3 as a whole hasn't been around for that long. So how did Tribe3 came to be?
Go on, Chris, because you were in the early incarnation.
Yeah, so I was aware of a band called Ezra V, I think they were called at the time, which is a long follow-on from Ezra, which is a band that Yip was in many moons ago, and I was for a short time, about 15 years ago or so. So I'd seen them play locally, and then it transpired that the guitar player was leaving. So I just thought, well, maybe I hadn't played in a band since John and I's previous band, which we can come back to. And it turns out I was living about 500 meters away from Yip, literally around the corner. So got together and started out as an instrumental fusion-ish style band. And where did we go? Then a singer came on board. And then the drummer left, so it was up and down in numbers for over a period, rather a bumpy ride for a month or two. Then the singer left, and then John, Steve and I kind of bullied John into singing, basically. we were kind of aware that his credentials as a linguist for his other.
You're breaking up there, Chris, again.
And then John put lyrics and vocal melodies. Dodgy, it would seem. So yeah, instrumental pieces, which became the first album, and the rest is, as they say. I'm not going to say it.
So from my perspective, I'd seen the boys play when they were an instrumental band, and because as Chris just said, Chris and I were in a band called the Dugs, which was like a jazz prog instrumental band.
Okay.
And we were together. Was it 10 years, 12 years, something like that? One album,
yeah,
3 gigs
something
in
like
12
that.
years. But we were exceptionally busy.
We were very busy.
But we did get a review in Prog magazine, though. No, to be fair. So Chris called me up one day and said their drummer had left. And I knew they were an instrumental band. I didn't really want to join an instrumental band, but then Chris threw in the line, "Oh, we've got a singer." So I thought, oh, okay, all right. So I went along, met Yip with his shorts on. What a sight that was! The horrors. And, met the singer, of course, and then we rehearsed for a couple of months, and they got the songs apart from one all together, all the vocals, the lyrics, and everything. And then the singer left. So they said to me, "Oh, do you want to be? No, we want you to be the singer." It wasn't. Do you want to be the singer? We want you to be the singer. And I'm like, nah, not really. I'm a drummer. That's what I've always been. That's my main thing. So I agreed to finish the album because we'd done all the music. It just had to go to a chap called Tim Hamill to be properly mixed and engineered. So I said, okay, I'll finish the album, but only if we have one eye on getting a singer in the future. So I rewrote, we took all the lyrics and singing that was originally there away, and I had to rewrite completely new lyrics, completely new melodies. And then somehow, nearly 2 years later, I'm still the singer. So I don't know what happened there.
They really tricked you into this.
Yeah, I do actually say I was demoted to being a singer.
I understand now. Yeah, I understand.
So there was method to the madness on that one. So we did have one song which hadn't been worked on. Then we worked as a trio together on that one then. And so that one was a song called Lament. And so that song has got elements of a crossover into the second album because there's more of there's a little bit of different DNA in it, I suppose, because of Chris and I. Also, not that Chris wasn't adding to the mix with the other songs. Of course, he was. He'd written all his parts, but Chris and I were also involved in the writing of it as well. So it was a transitional song on a first album, which is a bit strange. So yeah, that's this kind of checkered history of the startup of the band. So that I joined in May 2023, something like that.
20?
No, it was 23.
It must have been before 22.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
we released it.
Yeah,
it was. Yeah, it's
no,
May 23. And because we released the album in October. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
October.
well, you'd already written most of the
right?
album before I got there, hadn't you?
My memory's not what it was.
We just talk amongst ourselves, Marcel. It's okay.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay, so it's only a short period you were with the band, and then the first album was released already.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And the name Tribe3, I mean, because what I gather is that initially started out with 4. With you being the drummer, you had
yeah.
Now then, how many names did we go through,
well,
John?
when the singer was with us, and I was the drummer, there was 4 of us, but we weren't Tribe3 then. The boys were initially called Electric. When I joined, the name changed to Quadricity.
Okay.
Yeah, and then
Quadricity, terrible.
Terrible, and then when the singer left, and there were 3 of us, I think it was Steve came up with the idea of Cambrian. I said because apparently Cambrian is an old name for Wales, which is the country we're from. And I said, you can't have Cambrian because that's the name of a window company. Cambrian Windows. So, and then I think Chris found Tribe.
Yeah, I was keen on the word tribe as a in some capacity for the band name, and who stuck the 3 on it? Was that you?
Yip stuck the 3, and I said, make it a little 3.
Little 3.
So it was a combined effort,
just to confuse people with a little 3.
Tribe cubed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I saw on your website an interesting description. It said, with a distinctive sound which melts a fresh approach with an occasional nod to their influences. So what are your influences? What's the nod that you can hear in the music?
Go on, Chris. You can start because again,
Rush have always been my band. I don't know. There's no secret there. I think. So from All the World's a Stage was released in 1975, maybe 6. And that was me. I was done. That's my band. And with them to the bitter end. So they're definitely my main. Alex, in particular, my chordal style is very, very much taken from him, and then solo-wise, people like Alan Murphy, Alan Holdsworth, although I can't really admit to that because that's ridiculous. But yeah, I think Alan Murphy is probably my principal style of lead playing. So
okay.
Yeah, that's and King Crimson from the 80s was another thing that blew my hat off. That was just incredible stuff. Tears for Fears, big fan of Tears for Fears, who sometimes get put on proper eloquence. That's mainly my kind of my background.
Okay, I didn't catch all those. Sound is a little bit breaking up after a while.
Yeah, your internet's a bit sketchy, Chris.
Okay.
We call it the Tears for Fears
part. Let me change rooms. Oh.
Okay.
Let me change rooms.
I'll answer some other bits then while you move into your palace next door.
I'm going to the boudoir.
The boudoir. Oh, no. Not, as long as it's not the dungeon, we don't mind.
The dungeon. Yeah. No, it's got police tape all over it.
So those 3 bands that Chris mentioned does cross over with both myself and Steve. So Chris said Yip earlier. Steve is known as Yip in the band. So if any of us say Yip, we mean Steve. Steve's got a very eclectic mix of influences. He's very into Weather Report, for instance. He loves Yes, Genesis, the bands we just mentioned. It's difficult to speak for him because he's not here.
Yeah.
Steve and I do share a lot of similarities in our taste. So I'm a big Genesis Yes fan. I like Spock's Beard, particularly when, not that I disliked them after Neil Morse left, but particularly when Neil Morse was in the band, because Nick DiVigilio is one of my favorite drummers.
There's another hint.
Bites, all those sorts of bands.
There's another hint over your shoulder, John. A hint of who you like.
Yeah, I've been looking at that for a long time. one of my absolute favorite Marillion albums. So.
Yeah, I saw them 3 times on that tour. including the first night of the tour.
Okay.
in nearby in Cardiff, but yeah, that's an amazing album.
Yeah.
So we cross over a lot influence-wise. There's other things that we all like which are different to each other. I like a band called Return to Forever, which was another sort of prog fusion band by Chick Corea, Al Di Meola, and Lenny White and Stanley Clark on bass. Yeah. So there's unusual sides to us as well, but there's poppy sides like Tears for Fears. I like a band called The Feeling a lot, who are not a prog band at all, but are an exceptionally good band. Elbow, things like that. Talk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they all sort of creep in. You can't help it, can you? It's something you write something. You know somewhere deep down you might have stolen it from somewhere else.
Yeah.
Or it sounds, in that vein then, if you like.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine that. And in that respect, I agree with the fact that it says a nod to the influences, because it's not that when I listen to the album that I hear all kind of different bands or that it's obvious. It's more like certain influences. I gotta say, the first time I listened to Live Among Strangers, my initial thought was like, okay, I hear a little bit of Marillion in it, but when I listened to it album later on again, I kind of didn't hear that anymore. So maybe that was just the initial thing, but later on I was like, hey, I thought I heard the Marillion influence. I don't hear it anymore. So maybe it's when you get used to the sound a little bit that it sinks in a little bit better, and you really hear Tribe3.
Yeah, I think the second album is probably a little bit more of what we were actually going to be like, because the three of us were heavily involved together in writing that album. So when I was talking about Lament being that transitional song on the first album, if you listen to that song, you could kind of hear where album 2 sort of came from as well. But the foundations of different songs came from different people, whereas with the first album, the foundations of all the songs came from Steve, and him and Chris had developed them or 5 of the songs to full songs, and then I just came in later and did my thing. But with this one, we all brought something to the table. So Chris and I wrote a song. I've got a couple on there. Steve's got a couple on there. But the melting pot is all 3 of us. It doesn't matter who brought the foundation of the song in. It's the 3 of us. So when we come to doing who wrote what and stuff like that, we just say it's the 3 of us, because it's nicer that way. Because the song wouldn't sound like it is without the other 2 members, no matter who wrote it initially.
Yeah.
So we share writing credentials regardless of who did what.
Yeah.
So so I think the second album is more of what future albums are going to be more like. Well, that's not natural as you go along when you write in together. Saying that, mind, I've written a couple of songs on this album, and I've never really written many songs in the past. I think I've written about 4.
Okay, that's not a lot.
And suddenly I've got 4 on this one.
Yeah.
It's like, how did that happen? But it does help when you've got 2 other people guiding you and suggesting things and telling you something's, I'm not so sure about that, Jonathan. I think you need to change that bit. But they're always right. First of all, you're like, they don't like my song. But their points are valid, and then you change it and work at it together, and then it becomes what it is then. Or you throw it out because, it's not working or something like that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we haven't done that yet.
Not yet. Plenty of time.
Not yet. Only a matter of time. Yeah.
you mentioned a little bit already about the songwriting that was different from the first album, but how does the creative process for Tribe3 go? How do you guys write the music together, or work on the album together? I mean, maybe by extension, also the recording part.
Okay. It was an interesting sort of setup, really, because Steve had a bunch of songs, first of all, that we had sort of like hybrid versions of. But out of those hybrid ones, we only actually used Voyager at the time. But it was, I'll explain the process of that song because it's a fairly similar process to what happened with all the others then. So I would go over Steve's, he would record all his piano part, which was the entire song, and some extra bits he had. I recorded them via MIDI on the computer so I could mess about with them, ruin them, as we like to say, and but also allow me then to put something down, start to think about drums, maybe start to think about singing, but that's usually last with me, to be perfectly honest. I can create a template then of a song, which Chris has got, and he can work on as well, just to come up with his ideas. So that's kind of what would happen. I would add keyboards to it, then I'd go back to Steve's, he'd add a bit more. Chris he would usually record all his guitars at the end, but he knew what he wanted to play. It's just that he was sort of like last in the process. But with the singing, I got a strange system I call yogurting, which I stole from somebody else. I always admire those people who've got like books of lyrics ready, and they could write all these wonderful lyrics, and they won't have a song to match them to, but they'll have a book full. I can't do that, so I sit in front of a microphone with the song, and I literally go la 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 all the way through it. I make it up on the spot, record it, do another one, and then do another one, and then do another one. And occasionally the odd word pops out as well. But so what I do then is I look through it. Are there any bits in these 4 tracks? Then, if you like, I don't try not to do more than 4. Any bits that I like, and then I go sing in the car and see what comes out. And eventually, I just write the lyrics to the syllables that I have sung. So I don't have this grand idea of, oh, this song's going to be about this, and these words must mean this. I actually write syllable. I do try to make sense of it, of course, but I write to the syllables. And then there were other circumstances there where I had a few songs, and I presented them to the band, and they say, okay, we'll work on those. But I've presented something half, maybe 3/4 finished, because I would have done a lot of the keyboards and the drums, and maybe some of the singing. Even if it was the yogurting version, I would send them those versions, mainly to make them laugh. And then Chris and I got together one day, and because he had a few guitar ideas, and within an afternoon we'd written largely the front line, and then I stuck another part that I had in the middle, which is the sort of the big drums bit and the keyboard solo, and then one day I was mowing the lawn. This starts to sound a bit like a Genesis song. It was 1 o'clock and it was nearly time for lunch.
Dum-de-dum-de-dum.
But I wasn't lying on the bench. I was mowing the lawn.
Yeah.
And I had my phone just randomly playing songs, and and I had my headphones on, and this song came on. I thought, who's this? I thought, is this Steve? I thought, it can't be Steve. It's really good. So anyway, I heard this song and I thought, oh, it is Steve. definitely. So I rang him up and I said, listening to this song, what is it? And it was like an embryonic just form of this song that he was just playing in his room, and he recorded it with his phone, I think. And he said, "Oh, that's Life Among Strangers." Because Steve always names his songs, which is helpful for me with writing lyrics. And Voyager was already called Voyager, so it gave me something to go with. Plus, little aside, a project I'd been working on previously that had ended, we'd written a song called Voyager, so I just nicked the lyrics because I wrote them and chucked them in Voyager. So repurposed them, shall I say? So, but Life Among Strangers really struck a chord with me, which was bizarre because I know Chris when I wasn't around when the embryonic version of the song first appeared, because it was before my time. But Chris said he didn't know what guitar parts I put on it. Chris, you weren't sure what to do with it.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. I was a bit stumped for a while, but
And look what you came up with.
It hopefully turned out okay in the end.
It did, yeah. So so we just worked on that one. So that was technically the last song on the album, but it was a bit of a hiatus last year because Chris and Steve were busy with other things for about 3 months each. So I was left to my own devices. So I just cracked on with working on the songs and making them, sort of like quasi finished. And then they'd add extra parts to them later, like their bass parts and extra guitar parts and things like that. So it was an unusual way of working because it was solitary in a way for me. But the boys were busy, they couldn't be helped. So album 3 won't be written that way, or not all of it will be written that way because I'd rather the three of us properly be together. Yeah, and write and have more of a choice over the parts that go in the songs then, because we got loads of bits, but actually there's a couple of full songs as well we've already got, but we want to work on them together this time rather than individually. Yeah, so I was saying about Frontline. We actually wrote Frontline in an afternoon. Yeah, that's the fastest Tribe3 song ever written.
Okay.
Some songs are very old. Voyager is about 7 years old. Strangers, Life Among Strangers is about 7 years old. Last Encore is about 20 years old.
20? Wow.
Yeah.
As are some of the parts of Frontline. Some of those guitar parts are that old as well.
Okay.
They never had a home.
No. And even in Tide the same. The intro, the chorus, and but basically everything bar the verses in even in Tide I'd written about 7 years ago, but I hated the verses I had at the time, so I never did anything with it. And then we just came up with the verses then, and the song became Even in Tide. It was called Yours Sincerely originally, but the boys didn't like Yours Sincerely.
No,
it wasn't prog enough.
Sounds like something out of a Cary Grant movie.
Yeah.
Yes. Nobody talks like that.
But Chris, I mean, if you have these song parts that are like 7 or 20 years old, I mean, you compose them once, store them somewhere. How did they resurface when you're working on the album?
It's amazing considering my memory is so bad. These parts have just somewhere in there they've stuck. So there's a couple more, probably even older, that I don't think John or Steve have heard yet. So there's more ancient material to be unleashed and worked on.
Yeah. Well, I gotta say, I mean, Last Encore is one of those songs that I try to, write something down for every song. And Last Encore was like a song that I was like, I got nothing. I mean, I've been listening to the song and I'm absolutely loving it. It's a beautiful song, but don't ask me to describe it because I can't. I mean, every time I listen to it, it's like I kind of disconnect from the world, listen to the song, and when the song is over, don't ask me. I don't remember what I heard. I only know it's beautiful.
Is that memorable?
It is memorable in the sense that I think it's really beautiful, but it's not in the sense that I can describe what I heard. With other songs, I have that, I can describe it a little bit better. But the same was with Evening Tide, by the way. That was also a song that I was listening to it and I was trying to put down on paper, like, and I was struggling with it, and I just decided I'll just leave it. It's just a beautiful song.
It's Tribe3.
Yeah.
What more do you want?
But at the same time, I mean, a song falls like rain. I mean, if you have First Voyager, which is a beautiful, very atmospheric song, and then you have Falls Like Rain, which is in a way a heavier song. And I was thinking,
you're biz ringing me.
Oh,
I'm being interviewed.
go away.
I better tell him sorry. I'm being interviewed.
I got more important people to talk to than you, Steve.
Yeah, but
Sorry, Marcel.
No, it's okay. I was listening to that, and I was thinking that I discovered the whole thing that we call progressive rock these days somewhere in the early '90s with SI Music, and they had these compilation discs, and I was thinking if this song would have been on that compilation disc back in the '90s, I would have been a fan for Tribe3 since then, you know. This is a song that really resonates with me because that is the kind of music that I was listening to when I discovered this whole prog thing. So when I hear a song like that really stands out for me. So yeah, that's what I love about it. But at the same time, I also found it interesting. You have that beautiful atmospheric song, and then you go kind of a wake up call when you listen to the album.
Yeah, you go dark. I said on a show we just did on Sunday. I apologize for anybody who has a differing view on this, of course. But when I wrote the lyrics, I said that the world wasn't a great place, and then 2 or 3 months ago, something happened across the pond, and now the lyrics seem to mean something a lot more. Completely accidental, of course, but I look at those lyrics and I'm thinking, oh. Oh dear. I talk about Charlie. Go back to our Charlie. I hear rumor when they played on Sunday. I hear rumor Charlie sound checked his vocal with sounds Falls Like Rain.
He did.
Apparently. So I am unreliably told. I did tease him about it.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing that he did that?
Oh, there's no. I remember somebody. It was a band called The Fix many years ago. Actually, they still exist. They're a British band, but they really made it in America rather than here. Great band, but they had a little core following in Wales of all places, and this band used to cover their songs. And the Fix actually came to Wales to play with this other band because this band had been covering their songs, and they actually said to the boys in that band, "You don't mind us covering your songs, do you?" And the singer said, "Absolutely not." He said, "This is the best compliment ever to somebody to want to play your song because you like it." So I'm assuming Charlie likes it. I don't want to speak for him.
I think he does, but then maybe you should sound check with one of the Ghost of the Machine songs.
Well, I did actually say that. I said I teased him back. I said, "Oh, I'm gonna have to sound check the one now."
Oh, the one, yeah.
Yeah. Except I'm gonna have to get a pair of pliers to get up there because it's quite high to sing. I got a high voice, and wow, Charlie could hit some notes. Fair play.
I think what you said about Falls Like Rain, about the lyrics being, be giving the current situation across the pond, in a different light. I think that also applies to the one. When I was listening to that song, I also
Yeah.
thought like, it's very applicable at the moment. So
Yeah.
it's interesting.
Who
There's a
is
lot of,
betraying who?
yeah, yeah,
Isn't it? In the one, I mean, in the song,
yeah,
the one. Who is
yeah.
betraying who? Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a nice one. There was one song on the album that really stood out, and I think it's very special for you as well. Requiem for a Friend. A very
Yes.
small song, but
Yeah.
yeah,
So with Requiem for a Friend, the first person who took notice of the band um, was a chap called Jez Roden. Oh God, I can say it right now. Jez Roden. Apologies to his wife there. And he championed the band right at the beginning. So he was the first to review the band,
Gave us
the
a
album. Sorry.
spectacular review he wrote, didn't he, of the first album, and that was in the progressive aspect.
That's it. Yeah. And
Yeah.
our first live one,
And the first
almost
gig.
within a week of each other, I think, wasn't it, Chris?
Yeah, pretty much. Yes. Because
And
the review of the album came out on the day of the first gig, which is we did with Mighty Ra.
that's it.
And then and then the review of the gig came out a week or so later, I think, maybe a couple of weeks. But he really he gave us a real kickstart. Fantastic, lovely guy. We only met him the once at the first gig, and made an impression on all three of us. And I think John and I had the idea at the same time that it'd be nice to do something musically to honour his memory.
Yeah.
And then out came that piece.
Yeah, he sadly he passed away, and no, although we only met him the once, we did sort of like talk like on texts and things like that. I've still got his last text on my phone, which is I don't like to look at, but it's actually apologizing for not being able to attend another gig because he's gone to see Frank Carducci. So I've still got that text. So we heard he'd passed away, and he wasn't an elderly gentleman either. So it was a real shock.
Yeah.
And I know, naturally you feel a bit bummed out because of that. So I was just on the keyboards. I wasn't actually thinking of anything. I just thought that's how I write most stuff, to be perfectly honest.
Mm-hmm.
And I just started playing something, and I thought, oh, that's nice. Developed it a little bit, but then I shelved it. And I did play it once to the boys, and they said, oh, that's nice. No, that's maybe something we can use in the future, because we do that. We do share ideas, even when we're in between, finishing off albums and things. And I hit upon, as Chris said, we'd both sort of like thought the same thing. And just before we were about to send the song away to be mixed properly, not my ham-fisted versions, I suggested, why don't we do a little bit of a Lamb Lies Down on Broadway? So you've got little snippets of songs in between other songs, like you've got Silent Sorrow, Empty Boats, The Waiting Room, the little piece of music before Connolly the Slipperman. Just little incidental pieces of music. They're not necessarily fully fledged songs. I said, let's have a listen again to this song. Shall we do the same thing? And where should we put it? And the boys agreed, and we put it at the beginning of Life Among Strangers. So you'll notice that one song, on the CD anyway, it's almost like one continuous song.
Yeah.
So you could argue Life Among Strangers is actually 15 minutes long, but in reality it's two songs. So which is this ode to Jez, and then just a little story. We played our first gig of this year on the day we released the album. So we played 3 songs from the new album, and we played, but we didn't. We didn't want to play Requiem. I think we used it as the intro tape type of thing. But Jez's wife came to the gig because she knew that we had, through another chap called Leo Trimming. Do you know Leo Trimming?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do.
He's another reviewer. Through Leo, she'd heard that we'd dedicated this song to Jez, and the album's really dedicated to him as well. So she came along, and I actually asked her before the gig, do you mind me talking about Jez? Because I want to mention him, but I won't do it if you're uncomfortable with it. But she was fine with it. So that was really nice. So it was kind of like a full circle type of thing. So we could honor him, through actually telling the audience about him, whether they knew him or not. It was irrelevant. He meant something to us.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I said in Prog magazine, I didn't think we'd get past friends and family stage. So to have this one chap come along and actually go, hang on, guys, no, I think you got something here. I'm really, really like this. As Chris said, it give us that kickstart to actually start to think, oh, hang on, maybe we can do more. Yeah. And then things developed from there then with various live shows we were lucky enough to get on and start to get noticed a little bit then.
Yeah.
But I will put it down to Jez giving us that belief.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
It's a really nice touch that you not only included the song but also dedicated the album to him, because, well, obviously he meant a lot, and it's nice that you have someone like that picks you up the first, when your first album is out, when your first gig is there, and he notices it and gives it attention. I think that's a very good thing.
Yeah.
So it's
absolutely.
Yeah.
Because although all of us have been in music for a long time and we've been in original bands, I've been in a prog band, Chris has been in a prog band, and so has Steve, all in the past. None of us have ever made it, obviously. So even after all those years, there's still an element of naivety, even, but certainly, you're uncertain about whether what you're doing is any good, whether other people will like it, and so Jez was very, very important in that.
Yeah. Now, the one thing that I was thinking of, I mean, I've been away for prog for a number of years, and I've returned, and I noticed that there were a lot of new bands that I'm discovering. And one of the things for me to discover these bands a little bit better is just invite them to do an interview with me, so I get to know them. But well, I discovered a lot of bands like that. But at the same time, I understand that it's not always easy. You had a nice help with Jez, of course, which is good. But even then, I can imagine it's not always easy to get gigs or to get noticed. How do you experience that?
Go on, Chris.
I think a lot of the
sorry, excuse me.
A lot of the gigs last year were down to Steve pushing his day job is sort of a commercial type of environment, so he's good at and he's good with this as well. So lots of emails, lots of contact, and just managed to get us onto some of the major prog events of last year. We were really lucky to have done 4 or 5 maybe. Okay. Winter's End, Prog for Piet, which is a personal highlight for me, obviously, to the Neil Peart connection. But they were all terrific.
Danfest, HRH.
Danfest was terrific. HRH.
Neen Valley.
Neen Valley. Tony Castle, etc. Yeah. Terrific events. We were lucky last year.
Yeah, it's that old adage of being in the right place at the right time. I think we got onto all bar one, I think, Chris, because other people dropped out, so they took a chance on us.
Neen Valley, definitely.
Yeah, Kinky Wizards dropped out there.
Yes.
I think Winter's End. Did somebody drop out Winter's End?
Oh, I can't remember that one.
No,
I'm not sure memory.
Prog. Definitely. Yeah, I'm sure we were lucky then. Let's say on a few of those gigs, people dropped out and we were invited in because we were new. And I think Prog for Piet particularly was helpful because it was well attended, and most of the audience, and apart from possibly Bella and Mr. F, I'm sure you may know Bella Alabastrom.
I know her. Yes, Ben.
Yeah, or Bela, I should say. Sorry,
Yeah.
Bela. But apart from those, most of them had never seen us before. So we made an impression, shall we say then?
Yeah.
And they so they kind of took over the reins from Jez,
Yeah.
sort of championing the band, and I still to this day don't think we deserve it. It's almost like imposter syndrome.
Yes,
Okay.
there is an element of that.
Yeah,
sure.
There's no egos with us, Chris, is there? We're not.
No, absolutely not.
Perhaps we should, but we don't. But yeah, so it's at this right place, right time, right person. I think any success in anything, but particularly in music, is blind luck. It's purely that, and we at the moment appear to be quite lucky that people like us.
Yeah,
So our feet are on the ground, Marcel.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, but
We don't have caviar and champagne on the table over there.
You hit the ground and cover.
in a way, I mean, you can absolutely be very proud of Life Among Strangers because it's from start to finish. It's a beautiful album. So I really hope that a lot of people will discover it, will listen to it, and like you say, I mean, I think it is a combination of putting in a lot of work. And having a bit of luck. I mean, I spoke to Malcolm from Hats Off Gentlemen. It's Adeqaute. They also had a break, like someone dropped out of a festival and they were asked to play, and they also got a big audience there. So that also gave them a nice boost. So I really hope that these shows give you the boost as well that you deserve, and find a wider audience. What I also notice in that same respect of getting an audience, growing, getting more attention, is I noticed that a lot of bands have Facebook groups with a lot of fans in it. So is it also part like a sort of community building amongst bands and everything?
Yeah, do you know what? I have a theory, and I know I keep mentioning Charlie, but this comment is true. I was having a conversation with him the other day, and I have a feeling that there's a little bit of a movement going on at the moment in the UK. I can't speak for Europe because obviously we're not part of that scene then, if you like, although we would like to be naturally. But there seems to be a camaraderie growing between a group of bands who really support each other. I'll mention Spriggan Mist as another band. They're again very supportive. They like what we do. We like what they do. We all want to be on each other's side. And what it reminds me of is the early 80s, the very early 80s, when the neo-progressive rock movement started with Marillion, Solstice, 12th Night, Palace.
IQ.
Probably forget IQ, yeah. And they did support each other. I think there might have been a little less camaraderie from what I've read, but they did support each other because it wasn't. It was a dirty word, let's face it, prog in the early 80s, right through up until the late 90s, really. But they did support each other. And I see this happening again. I don't know if I'm wrong, but there are a number of bands who seem to be wanting to support each other, do double headers, play on the same festivals as each other, and that type of thing. And that's good, not just for the bands, but it's good for the community as well. Because that means that, I don't know if you want to call it a resurgence, but it certainly makes it more visible then, shall we say, this new movement of progressive rock in the UK, and for all I know, the same thing is happening in various countries in Europe as well. I don't know if you feel the same way, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of lot of support for each other and promoting of each other, and so it's not like a competition. It's more of a team spirit thing. It's very good. It's very healthy.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's definitely very good as long as there's no dancing.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the D word.
I felt for him on that last gig. Oh my gosh! Have you seen this? Have you seen the video footage?
I have, yeah. But that's the thing. That's what I'm discovering myself as well, because of the fact that all these bands have connections with each other, whether it be about being enemies because of dancing or whatever, or being twins or whatever.
Yeah, it's
But
fun.
it's you discover one band and you quickly discover the next one, and so you discover more bands. So I think that's a very good thing, and I'm happy that's happening, and I really hope that continues, and that more people pick up on that and see, hey, this is interesting, this is fun, this is great music. Let's jump in and let's enjoy that. So
yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, Baz from Spriggan missed. There was a Facebook thread about, I think it was following that clip of people dancing at the Ghost of the Machine gig, and Baz Cilia said, "I wonder what Jonathan Kinsey thinks about dancing at prog gigs." And I just commented, "All I can say is our third album will be entirely in 17/8."
Dance to that.
Fantastic.
Dance to that.
Yeah. No, but yeah, that's I mean that's what I love about it, and in the end, that's the reason why we're having this chat right now, because of all that. So, like I said, I think it's a good development, but most of all, and I think that is the most important thing, the music. It's about the music, and what I'm discovering is there's a lot of great music out there. And yeah, I'm really happy that I discovered Tribe3. I am very happy I have had a chance to listen to Live Among Strangers, and I can't wait to get a physical copy of the album in my hands so that I can also show it in interviews or videos or whatever.
Yeah.
They will be in the mail tomorrow, Marcel. They'll be in the mail tomorrow.
Okay.
I promise.
I appreciate that.
Chris is our distributor.
I'm the UK distributor.
And I really hope that one day. I mean, we have, of course, some water between us, unfortunately, and some customs annoying things and everything. But
don't mention the B word.
No comment.
I won't mention that, but I really hope one day all of you can come across to this side and bring your beautiful music here on stages.
We would really love to do that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We want to spend this year, because we're not playing that much this year, but we want to spend this year sort of like raising the profile of the band a little more. But one of those sort of things we have on our agenda then is, can we play in Europe at all? Because there are, obviously you've got the Netherlands and Germany, but Poland seems to be raising its head recently with us. We've met quite a few Polish people coming on board with the band. So if we could do something small, in reality, we'd probably have to do it with another band. Rather than, you can't do it on your own. I think that would be a little difficult. But if it could be done, we would definitely 100% do it, because bands want to play live.
As far and wide as possible.
Absolutely, yeah. So with the help of some people we have on board now, like Mark, for instance, hopefully we can raise that profile a bit more and get opportunities, because that's all you need really. You need just hopefully an opportunity, and maybe like we had with Winter's End first, and then Prog for Piet, and then things moving on from there. Maybe something will happen. Some of it is down to determination and wanting to, get those things. But again, it still comes down to a little bit of luck as well. So hopefully we'll be lucky.
Yes.
I hope so too. I wish you all the best of luck. And thank you very much for taking the time to have a chat. to this LiveProg podcast. Probably the longest one so far. They're getting longer every time. So, but thank you very much.
Yeah, one last thing, Marcel, before you go. You're talking about the bands and the music, but I think it's also I think Steve would say this if he was here. It's also people like yourself who were absolutely instrumental in keeping everything going and
Very
keeping the awareness of progressive rock. So we've mentioned Bela, we've mentioned Leo, we've mentioned Jez earlier, but it's also people like yourself, Chuck Simons in America. You guys are helping us hugely, not just Tribe3, I mean, all the bands. Yeah. So thank you as well.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Thank you very much indeed.
It has been my pleasure.
Hopefully we'll get to meet up soon.
I hope so too. Yeah, that will be nice. And I know that Charlie is coming to the Netherlands at the end of May. So
okay.
And he's I'm living in Eindhoven, and he's flying to Eindhoven Airport. So that's like 10 minutes from my home.
Oh, okay.
We already are making arrangements to meet up, which would be nice that we finally meet in person. But I know he's been also kind of trying to get me over to the UK. And I did an interview with Clive Nolan last week, and he also kind of trying to get me to come over.
Cool. So we'll have to crowdfund you. We'll crowdfund you, Marcel. Get you over.
Yeah. So I should look into that and see if I can make an effort. But then I just probably have to go do a sort of a tour and visit everyone.
You do your own tour, yeah.
Yeah, my own tour.
Get Bela and Mr. F to pick you up on the way.
Ah, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I should check in with Bela. That's a good one.
She'll shout at me now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's. I think it's also because I met her that I discover all this new music. I think that's also part of it. I mean, I don't know how I met her, but I think it was through Facebook. But we met a couple of times in person already at some gigs. The last one being the Jadis gig here in the Netherlands. We met up there, which was nice. So with also Eden. That was the first time we met last November.
Yes, they
another
did a small tour
of yours, John.
Yeah.
Yeah, Simon and I were in a band together for a short period of time.
Okay.
Band called Ghost Community. I joined late, and then the band folded only a short time after I joined. They were already an established thing, but I never got to do any recording or play with them, unfortunately. But I did get to meet Simon. I already know the singer because he's in another band with me, where I'm the drummer and he's the singer. My home is behind the drums.
Okay.
So it's a tangled web we all weave, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, I like it. Yeah.
No, so, come over. Come to Neen Valley. You'll have a 3-day festival to get your teeth into.
As much prog as you can eat.
Yeah.
That's a good one. As much prog as you can eat. I gotta remember that one. Yeah.
We have a slogan, Marcel, which we are hopefully going to be putting on a T-shirt. And so I'm going to say it so nobody steal it out in the world. It's our idea. Prog is neither too short nor too long. It is exactly the amount of time it is meant to be.
Yeah. That's a good one. I have some artwork here, but I used to have a T-shirt for my LiveProg channel. Unfortunately, I don't have them anymore. But on the front, it said, "I love the smell of prog in the morning." Yeah.
Well.
All right. We have less than a minute.
No worries. No, but thank you so much, Marcel. It's been a pleasure meeting you as well.
Yeah, thank you too.
You get to meet you in person.
I look forward to that too, and it was nice to chat with you. So
likewise.
Well, yeah. Until next time.
Until next time.
And I wish you a good evening then.
You too.
And you too. Be a pleasure.
Absolute pleasure. Take care.